the mindset method, what is it? It's an acrostic that helps you think about and remember how you should transform your mindset. So let's start with the M. The M stands for meaning making. Meaning making is a process by which your brain interprets an event and then it assigns it its significance. In other words, what you believe something means is often more powerful than what actually happened. So the I in the mindset method is identity anchoring. And this is the internal story that you carry about who you are. So your identity is not just something you say, it's not the affirmations that we write and we repeat saying I'm strong and I'm powerful and I'm smart and I'm unstoppable. It's actually something that you prove through your behavior. And your brain is always working to stay consistent with that identity. So think about your identity as being the thermostat, not the thermometer. So similarly, when somebody has a fever, you have a fever, your kid has a fever, you put the thermometer in their mouth and it then states what actually is. So that thermometer is reacting to whatever the environment says. The thermostat, though, that is actually set in the environment. It's saying, I want the temperature in this house to stay at a certain temperature. Identity is a thermostat, not the thermometer. So I was working with someone who said, I want to be consistent. Don't we all? And her identity, though, is she was like, but I'm struggling with being disciplined. So every time she skipped something, like the gym, she just reinforced the identity. So what identity are your current behaviors reinforcing? How are you showing up? Because how you're showing up is setting that thermostat. The N in the mindset method is for neural pathways. And these are the repeated patterns in your brain that basically become automatic. Kind of similar to, I think about habit stacking, right? So when I wake up in the morning, I make up my bed automatically. I don't even think about it. I go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth. I don't even really think about it. And those are repeated patterns that I have in my brain that now make it automatic, like this is what you do. So your brain is designed to conserve energy. I was thinking about a place I used to live. There was a trail that certain times of the year, you could tell a lot of people were using that path because it was more clear. And then there are other times of the year that path was rarely used, and so it started to become a little overgrown. Well, that's the same way our brain works, right? The more you walk that path or the more you use that pathway, the clearer it becomes. And then the less you use it, the more it starts to fade and you can't realize, hey, here goes the path I should take. Every time this stress hits, someone snaps. You're not regulating your system. The pathway has been practiced for years. When somebody says something to me, when somebody does something to me, this is how I'm going to respond. But here goes the beautiful thing. Just because you've learned and experienced something like that and it seems to become an automatic response for you, it doesn't mean that automatic is permanent. It just means this is practice. And as you know, you can always change the game. All right, so we've gone through the N, the I, the N, and the mindset method. So now let's talk about the D. The D is for default responses. These are your automatic emotional and behavioral responses, the way you react to things, right? They happen before any conscious thought. Remember, your brain is trying to conserve energy and say, hey, this is how I'm automatically going to respond. So these are fast and conditioned and often unconscious. So it's like your brain being on autopilot. You probably heard someone say, I don't even know why I reacted that way. I don't even know why I said that. It just happened. Exactly. It wasn't intentional. That's the difference between conscious and unconscious thought. It was just programmed. So your reactions are rehearsed responses that your body has memorized over time. So the question I have for you is, what is your default response when you feel challenged, criticized, or overwhelmed? So the S in the mindset method stands for Somatic Signals. So this is how your body communicates with you. Have you ever stopped to become aware of what you feel in your body when something frustrates you or makes you feel overwhelmed or makes you want to respond in a way that probably isn't becoming of you? It's Your body is often your first signal that something is happening internally. So that stress that you feel, that's a somatic signal. Your body is the dashboard, not the problem. So before someone raises their voice, they feel a tightness in their chest. It's not something they really want to do, right? But sometimes they feel like, I have to do this to protect myself. They might feel tightness in the chest, heat rising, a lump in their throat, but they ignore it because they are just letting their emotions rule them versus them rule their emotions. And then they say, oh my gosh, I just lost it. Your body is always going to speak first, but most people have just learned to ignore it. But I encourage you to listen to what your body is saying, to notice how your body is feeling. And so I want you to think about this question. What does your body feel like right before you react? So closely tied to the somatic signals is our emotional regulation. It's actually all connected. That's the whole thing I love about mindset, right? Everything is connected. So E is for your emotional regulation. This is your ability to process emotions instead of being controlled by them. So don't get it wrong. Regulation is not suppressing. We're not saying suppress your emotions, but it's not ignoring them. It's being aware of them. And it's creating space between what you feel and how you respond to what you feel. And you know, I use the ocean a lot as imagery. Emotions are like waves. You're not meant to stop them. When you're standing in the ocean, you can't stop the wave. It's gonna come, and it's gonna sometimes overpower you. If you know anything about surfing, you look at that from a different perspective and you see the wave coming and you just get ready to ride it. That's the difference. One person could feel anger and they suppress their anger. And then what happens anytime we suppress emotions? It starts to explode at some layer point, and it's not even over anything major that somebody said. It could be the slightest thing that then we explode. While another person at the same time can feel that same anger, but they pause. They feel it and they process it, and then they respond with clarity. They think before they respond. So don't get it wrong. Not processing your anger does not make it go away. On the contrary, it's just getting stored for a later time to then explode. My question to you about emotional regulation is, do you tend to suppress, express, or process your emotions? Do you tend to suppress, express, or process your emotions? I want you to think about that. The final letter in the mindset method is T. This stands for thought patterns. These are the consistent ways that you think about yourself, other people, and the entire world, actually. Did you know your brain is always running scripts? Yeah, it is. And whatever script runs the most, it becomes a reality. If your thoughts are scripts, your brain is always casting them. So you think about a movie script, right? Somebody writes a script and then they think about, okay, who should play that part? Who should play that part? Well, your brain is doing exactly the same thing. Imagine this. A leader walks into a meeting thinking, they're gonna challenge me. I'm gonna talk about a change that we need to make in the organization and they're gonna challenge me. So she shows up guarded and the room responds to that energy. Always be aware. Free tip, always be aware of the energy that you bring into a room because it's contagious. Your thoughts don't just describe reality, they actually help create it. So here's my question for you. What is a dominant thought that you carry into high pressure situations? And what's the energy you bring